about this that we just don't know, that we're learning as we go along. We've had new postulates form over the last couple of years as we sit down and noodle on this stuff, and they appear to be reasonable theorems at the moment. And one of the postulates is this idea that there's bleed-through. And the idea of bleed-through is best illustrated with the Sumatran tsunami, which occurred at the end of the year. At the beginning of that year, we got the word for 300,000 people dead or killed or missing, a nation pushed back to a previous age, large earthquake, and electric-driven waters. And then we also got words that said courthouse emptied due to the earthquake, famous personalities scrambling around due to the earthquake as they scrambled out of the courthouse, and so on and so on. At the beginning of the year, we couldn't tell that it was two separate events. That in that year, the Scott Peterson trial in California would be emptied due to an earthquake, and all these famous lawyers and stuff would go scrambling around with all the media as they all emptied the courthouse building. And then another 6+ months would happen, and the 300,000 people would be killed or missing, and the nation would be shoved back to a previous age.
Okay, but in this case, you actually didn't get the name of the nation. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, and you also didn't get the state of California in the Scott Peterson.
Correct, and that's deliberate, because see, here's part of our problem. On the internet, we're not actually after conscious language. So we don't go out and count the number of times someone says California and match that up and say, okay, the earthquake's going to happen in California. We can't rely on that stuff because geographic references are so frequent, and we can't rely on someone saying numbers. So we work on archetypes. So you're correct. We, just like this year, we knew there was going to be a large earthquake. I sent out a warning to our subscribers. George Ure put it on his urbansurvival.com site some 36 hours ahead of the Chinese quake. We knew there was going to just be one great big whomp of a quake. We had no clue as to where it would be beyond certain boundaries. And we refined this over time. So the next time we do an earthquake prediction, which is for December 10th through 12th, we think there's going to be two very large earthquakes. They're not necessarily in the same place on the planet, but they could be. We have some references that we seem to think are valid for the Pacific Northwest where I live. We also have some references for the band of latitude 32 degrees north to 36 degrees north, which would cover places like California, Japan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iran, etc. And that's the best we can do at this stage.
Are you emotionally affected by your work at this point?
Oh yeah, I'm a depressed bastard, no question about it.
Seriously?
Seriously, oh yeah. I have to work it. I'm very diligent at maintaining an appropriate mental attitude, at maintaining my health and those things that are important to me, and shutting off the rest of it because it is extremely depressing stuff. And I don't report a quarter of what we actually end up seeing.
What's your, hit record at this point, would you say?
Well, I don't know. I mean, we hit 2001. We had everything but the terrorism word. We had military plus accident and so on. We got anthrax attack. We got the Columbia Space Shuttle disaster. We got the disaster, or the accidents on the to the Greek athletes prior to that Olympics. We've gotten a quake for China. We've gotten another wedding quake, subsequent quakes in Indonesia. We've picked up on. We've been very accurate with economics. Some of our subscribers made a huge amount of money because we told them about the Brazilian oil fields to be discovered about 8 months before it occurred, and they bought in on Brazilian oil hunting companies. So as I say, we figure about better than chance. About half of what we say ends up manifesting in a way that we can say hit it by time or the language descriptors. And eventually, it's probably about 55% of the language ends up showing up, even if we misinterpreted it.
Okay, Bill, did you have any questions that you wanted to run by Cliff at this point?
It's been more interesting than some of the interviews I've heard, simply because it's focused on some of the methodology and the technology behind the forecasting, which I and many other people find very, very interesting. The details have really been covered elsewhere, and what's also interesting, I think, to many of the people listening to this is that you've given some indication of your own personal involvement in this.
Yeah, in essence, I have to, because Mom has suggested that there were some unique things that may be linguistic experiments to be tried here at this particular point in time, and I'm willing to try that because the potential for gain outweighs the risk, and because, to be quite honest, we're at that huge crux. From now on, from October 7th onward, we won't return to the emotional levels that we're at now in a positive way until beyond 2012. George, you and I have decided that if we're still here in 2013, we're going to get together and party like it's 1999.
Okay, this is interesting because you actually said there would be a 5-month time after October 7th. But what you're now saying that you're actually saying there's a place that we're at here emotionally that's actually we're going to go down from here to 2012 for the next 4 years?
Okay, up, down, you really shouldn't phrase it that way. Just like Mr. Fuller used to bitch at everybody because there is no up or down on this planet. There's only closer to the center of the Earth and further away from it. So an in and out kind of an approach. So let's not use pejorative terms like up or down because that implies a certain thing. However, the emotional tonalities that we're living at the moment, especially those tonalities associated with words like normalcy and nostalgia and all of this kind of thing, will not be seen again. From October 7th onward, we won't recover those as near as I can tell in my data. And it may well be the case that, those things that come along, such as the global coastal event, subsequent magnetic shifts, and perhaps even a crustal shift, and the destruction of most of the population on the planet, may indeed be the reason for that. I have to say that the biospheric degradation and the changes in the solar system, the magnetosphere, the heliosphere, et cetera, all tend to support the idea that the language is spitting out to us that the bizarre days ahead are, however inconceivable, are basically our destiny. We're going to live through some of the strangest times that have certainly been around on the planet for many thousands of years. And on the other side of it, those of us that pop out, we probably all ought to get together and say, whew.
So in a certain sense, you're relying your entire model on the psychicness, the intuitive psychic ability of people when they're speaking.
Yes, in a certain sense, because they don't know that they're leaking out these changes, and I have some, if you will, hidden knowledge that tells me that that's a pragmatic way to go. And that hidden knowledge comes down to a whole series of enlightenment events I've had over the course of my life, and that have gotten me to where I'm at. I'm self-educated. I didn't go to college for linguistics. I don't have degrees in anything. Taught myself to program. Anything I've created, I've done on my own this way with the assistance of those humans in the universe around me. And in his chosen universe, has chosen to provide me with some enlightenment experiences that set my frame of reference outside of what we might think of as normal. And that has aided me in this ability to do this.
That's evident in what you write. And, I have to say that we're very lucky that a person such as yourself came up with this sort of modeling technique.
Okay, well, there we would disagree, see, because I don't believe in luck. The universe wanted this to happen, and it created this way, so this confluence of events is precisely what it is.
By virtue of who you are, this is why it was created, the way it was created.
Exactly. The universe said, well, we need this thing, in this time, so let us start altering and working on this particular human. And by the way, before I incarnated, I checked out everybody and said, oh, well, that would be an interesting life to live, and plopped into that human, and here we are.
Okay, I think that's really great, and I happen to agree with that perspective. One thing that I've noticed about reality is that in many ways, if you want to track it, we are aware of what's coming because in a certain sense it's already happened, because time is actually not linear.
Correct.
So I think that must also be influencing what you're talking about when you say that, in a sense, that most people know, it sort of invades their language, if you will. Their consciousness is revealed by their language and their choice of language.
Yeah, it actually ends up being, as we say, it leaks out. Even if they wanted to stop it, I don't think they could.
Exactly. They can't help it because they actually do know. It's actually true that we actually do know, and therefore we choose based on our knowing without knowing that we're doing so, or at least some
we
of
also
us.
have to work around the limitations of the human brain relative to that as well, because the human brain has been engineered to perceive time in a linear fashion. And at the same point, the mind is nonlinear, so there's that kind of like duality, both and juxtaposition kind of stuff there, so there's sort of a bleed through both ways within the individual, and then because most individuals are in a state of denial about the true nature of reality, it expresses itself, as we say, in the bleed-through or the leaking out of the psychic impression.
But there's also the levels at which you experience it. In other words, when you're talking about this modeling technique, in a sense, when you're in one sense of the mind, if you will, where you're not being linear, then it's actually not a problem because you see the long range and you sense that this is actually going to be good in the long run, although it's going to be difficult to go through. But if you're in the linear state,
it's rather frightening, yes.
Yeah, and if you're in the linear state, then you tend to sort of Pavlov into the fear mechanism and so on.
Right, and the Taoists say that an ordinary person sees everything as a curse or a blessing, and the aware observer or the enlightened being or the sage, however you want to label them, sees everything as a challenge. And that's quite true, because good and bad are labels we apply. So those people that are trapped in the linear view of the world are indeed subject to this up and down, and they're suffering greatly at the moment, especially on this economic stuff. And they're going to suffer even worse